Look, high doses of TRT are great. The anabolism is second to none. You're basically at sports TRT, pushing a low-level cycle territory. The productivity is unmatched. You're not going to get the level of productivity you do on high doses if you're dosing 140 a week. The brain power, the energy, the masculinity, but also if the protocol's dialed in, the libido, extremely aggressive, the erections, powerfully rigid. So generally, high doses of testosterone are awesome. But for some people, it's just going to take the estrogen out of their range and out of balance with DHT to the point where if they're going to enjoy those high doses of testosterone, they're going to have to manage the estradiol. We've been through this, so I'm not going to rework the wheel. There are many ways in which estrogen can inhibit specifically erectile quality, increasing noradrenaline, that's anti-erectile, impairing nitric oxide in the penis, that's anti-erectile, inhibiting dopaminergic neuron firing in the brain, that's anti-erectile and anti-libido. Increasing prolactin, that's anti-erectile and anti-libido. So estrogen is not entirely your friend past a certain range and out of range or balance with your DHT. There are 4 options for us to manage estrogen on TRT and generally, but especially on higher doses. They are with the use of Anastrozole, Aromasin, Primobolan, or Masteron. And what I want to do in this video is break down how to use them all on high doses, because how much you have to control estrogen on high doses of testosterone is surprisingly different than you would think and surprisingly different than lower end doses of testosterone. Look, before we start the video, Cortex Labs, which is my company, is a TRT guidance and sexual dysfunction resolution company. Got a range of different products around TRT, the most popular of which lately has been high-dose TRT mastery. Listen, if you're tired of playing with small doses or medium doses of TRT, tired of microdosing, tired of listening to the Redditors, and actually want to get results, just get high-dose TRT mastery. The entire framework for mega dosing tests, getting great anabolism and getting great libido and erections is in this video course. It's 20% off, and you can buy it down the description of this video. We have a source list if you need access to whatever it is you might need access to. Major announcement on coaching. The 3 and 6 month one-on-one coaching programs have been 50% off for about 3 weeks now. That special ends this Sunday, okay? Use the code 50 now and save 50% on one-on-one coaching with me, either 3 or 6 months, or until 7 slots that are open are booked, okay? This will end Sunday. It is not coming back until next spring. But there's some silver lining. You could now pay overtime with Affirm, and you can do that at checkout. If you just need to get on the phone with me, there's a TRT protocol audit and the TRT sexual function one-time consult, which you can get in the description of this video as well. So for the sake of simplicity, we are going to be discussing how to control estrogen on higher doses of TRT using Anastrozole, using Aromasin, using Primobolan, and using Masteron. Let's first start with a primer, though, and discuss the people that don't have to manage estrogen on high doses of TRT. The way that people that dose TRT in high quantities don't really have to manage estrogen is because their DHT acts as DHT does, which is effectively an estrogen blocker. So the DHT is balancing out the estrogen regardless of the serum. It's counteracting the negative estrogen effects at the penile tissue and otherwise, and they end up in a good balance. And these people's protocols are more often than not every 5 days or every 7-day injections. Again, I've been over this before. The reason this works is because, yes, estrogen does peak, but you're not steady state exposed to androgens. You get somewhat of a significant trough on a 7-day injection period, so the estrogen gets to go back down. And then guess what happens when you inject next? Estrogen's already in kind of a lower end state, and then you surge the body with androgens, recreate that perfect balance, the ratio of DHT to estradiol, and you have continuously good sexual function without the necessity to manage estrogen. But that's not everyone. Some people, no matter what, either via slightly under conversion to DHT or over conversion to estradiol, are going to need to manage estrogen on high doses of TRT. So let's talk about how to do that first with Anastrozole. I'll make the major point with every aromatase inhibitor or DHT derivative or attempt to control estrogen, you need less than you would think on higher doses, and that is because you have enough DHT to counteract some of that estradiol. So in most cases, you just need to lower the estrogen a little bit. Now, I know that seems counterintuitive because down at the 150s, 175 doses, or even 130s, some people need more, anastrozole or estrogen control. At higher doses, you actually are closer to the right ratios of DHT to estradiol because you've got a lot of DHT. Assuming you're injecting your testosterone once every 7 days, the single best way to dose anastrozole, at least to start, is a mere 0.125 milligrams once every 7 days. And you don't do that on injection day. You don't do that on day 2. You do that at day 3. Day 3 is absolutely positively when estradiol starts peaking. Days 1 and 2, it will start to rise, but you want that. You want some estrogen, and you don't want to run the risk of crashing it. So if you dose 0.125 milligrams of anastrozole on day 3, you're right in the prime zone to prevent estradiol from going over your range. Again, this is for people that estrogen goes over for them and they have and libido problems. Now, look, on either side, there are going to be outliers that either need slightly less, which would be 0.06 milligrams of anastrozole once every 7 days, or slightly more, which would be 0.25 milligrams of anastrozole once every 7 days. If you find that that's you, because after dosing the lower end, your libido is still high, but erections are still bad, then you need more estrogen control. For Aromasin, the same principle applies. You want to start at the lowest possible dose and do that once every 7 days, and that's 6.25 milligrams. Again, you're just trying to nudge the estrogen down a little bit, right? You're just trying to prevent some of that conversion so that the ratios don't get out of whack and you maintain both your libido and your erections. Again, there's going to be outliers on either side. So if you have to split that 6.25 in half and get a 3 milligram or so dose of Aromasin, do that. Do that every 7 days. Maybe that works for you. Typically, though, people are going to have to go on the other side of things and dose 12.5 milligrams once a week, okay? If you're wanting to push higher in the Aromasin or higher than 0.25 milligrams of Arimidex, just carefully consider that. Get the bloods on estradiol at the peak of the drugs, the peak of the aromatase inhibitor, so you can see exactly how much it's lowering the estradiol, and just make a judicious decision on how to proceed forward, knowing that you don't want to crash the estrogen because your life's going to suck if you do. Let's talk about Primobolan. Primobolan is the only DHT derivative that actually noticeably lowers serum estradiol. You'll see people's estrogen going from 90 to 37 with just 100 milligrams of Primo per week. Primobolan typically comes in Primobolan enanthate, so it's about a 5-day half-life. So the same principle applies. Dose it once a week. And if you're trying to be as surgical as possible, dose it on day 3 and start with 50 milligrams. Again, we're not trying to take high doses of Primo because we're bodybuilding. We're trying to nudge the estrogen down a little bit. So if 50 milligrams sounds like a small dose to you, believe me, it's not. You will actually get some degree of physique benefits from it, but again, that's not what you're doing. You're not running a testosterone or a steroid cycle, okay? You're trying to nudge the estrogen down. Start with 50 milligrams, move up in 25 milligram increments only if libido is still present, but erections have not been solved by the Primobolan. Make sure intermittently you're going to Quest or LabCorp to see where the estrogen's going at the peak of the Primobolan, which is about the day 2.5 mark or so. Give it time, monitor, assess, and then decide if it's not exactly perfect to modify the doses slightly. Now, Masteron works differently than any of these drugs. It actually doesn't inhibit aromatase at all. It blocks the gene expression of estrogen and also modifies receptors that estradiol doesn't bind in some cases to estrogen receptor alpha and estrogen receptor beta. So it is not going to change the serum levels of estradiol. It's effectively going to mask estrogen for you. Same rules apply, 50 milligrams to start once every 7 days. And by the way, through coaching, I've learned that the reason I'm now very conservative on starter doses is, again, number one, you just want to nudge the estrogen or the estrogen effects in this case down a little bit, but you'd be surprised how many people crash the estrogen with Primo and Masteron by doing 100 milligrams, 200 milligrams, 150 milligrams of Primo once a week. So same rules apply. 50 milligrams Masteron once every 7 days. Give it time. Let it balance out. Give it a few weeks. Look at the estradiol at the peak of the Masteron just because you're curious and you'd like to know where your total estrogen is, but don't weigh that number very heavily. Again, it doesn't block estrogen at the serum. It does more so at the tissues. Only move up in 25 milligram increments to 75 milligrams Masteron once a week if you have to. And the indicator would be libido is still good, but erection quality is failing. It means estrogen's still overpowering the DHT and messing with erections. At any point with Aromasin, Arimidex, Primobolan, or Masteron, you start to lose your libido, you have gone too far. Okay? You've taken the estrogen too low, or you've blocked it too much at the receptor site or the gene expression site, and the number one hallmark indicator that you have reduced estrogen signaling entirely too much for your body is libido leaves your brain. And that's it. Regarding high dose tests, can you get away with taking 25 to 50 milligrams of zinc per day to try to manage the estrogen? Yeah, but the half-life is different. Sometimes 50 milligrams is too much. You can absolutely crash your estrogen on zinc, and it's just harder to manage. Can you take calcium D-Glucarate and chrysin? Well, yeah, but they're even harder to manage. We know nothing about what it actually does to the serum. And in most cases, CDG just fosters you clearing more and doesn't mess with the serum all that much. So stick with the aromatase inhibitors and stick with the DHT derivatives. Recognize that estrogen control, especially with aromatase inhibitors, is not the devil at all. There are some people that to get the benefit of TRT, they're going to have to modulate that hormone. Aromatase inhibitors themselves are not unhealthy if dosed correctly while keeping estrogen in a healthy place. Okay, and in terms of health, of the four, Aromasin is probably the better suited one if you're really worried about things like lipids. All right, again, boys, our literal most popular product is high dose TRT Mastery. Listen, if you want to know how to dose test high, achieve libido and erections that are insane and amazing, the way that it's supposed to be, but also enjoy sports TRT or cycle level strength and anabolism, get high dose TRT Mastery. Listen, if you're tired of microdosing and you're tired of playing with small doses and you want to learn how to dose TRT, arguably in the most optimal way, just get high dose TRT Mastery. It's 20% off right now. Code is on the screen, down the description of this video. I'll make this announcement a few more times through the weekend, but Sunday, the discount 50% on 3 and 6 month coaching goes away and coaching goes back to normal prices. If you need to get on board, use the code 50 now for either 3 months or 6 months. These are intensive one-on-ones with me to fix hardcore sexual dysfunction on TRT and otherwise. The special goes away on Sunday. And by the way, now you can pay over time using Affirm, and you can do that at checkout. If you don't need coaching and just a call with me, here are the best options. The TRT protocol audit, 25 minutes of my time. I'll audit your entire protocol and give you suggestions on what to fix, but you have to take notes to the protocols that I give you. Secondarily, for specifically sexual function problems, libido and erection issues on TRT, this TRT sexual function enhancement consult gets you everything. 45 straight minutes with me. I'll generate protocols for you that are targeted for your physiology as well as adjustment routes. It is everything in one. Without the long coaching cycles, you can book this in under a minute, livecortex.com. All right, my brother in test. I will talk to you tomorrow because there's more content coming. So look out for that. Like the video means a lot to me and makes a huge difference to the channel. Sub to the channel. We've been doing this for ages and we will continue doing. There's so much more to come and I'd love for you to be a part of it. Please sub. Otherwise, kick ass, rock on. I'll see you guys this Saturday for a live stream. More content in between. Enjoy the rest of your day, bro. I'll talk to you in the next one.